Let's have a look at this question about this family pedigree diagram that shows the inheritance of a disease called familial hypercholesterolemia. This causes high cholesterol in the blood and can cause heart attacks. And we're told that it's caused by a dominant allele. So if you inherit one copy of that allele, you're going to have the disease. But this is really valuable information because it also means that whenever you see someone who doesn't have the disease, so these non-colored circles of people who are unaffected, we know they can't possibly have even one copy of that damaged allele. So we know if we use the letters big H for the damaged dominant allele, and we use little h for the normally functioning but recessive allele, we know that anyone with a light color circle or square must be little h, because if either of the ones they inherited from their parents were a big H, they'd be affected, but we know they're not affected. So everyone in this diagram straight away that is white colored, we can just go ahead and fill in little h for all of them. And we are told that person A is heterozygous for this disease. So heterozygous, so we know that they are going to be big H, little h. And the question asks us to figure out the number of people with these genotypes. So how many people are homozygous recessive and homozygous dominant? Well, we've just done homozygous recessive. We know that all the people who are unaffected by the disease must be homozygous for the recessive allele, just because if they had one copy of the damaged allele, they would have the disease. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people who are homozygous recessive. That's 11. How about homozygous dominant? Well, let's think this through. If I guess the parents, the grandparents, and if the great-grandparents, one was heterozygous and one was homozygous for the recessives, it's actually impossible for either of their two children to be homozygous dominant because they can't inherit the dominant allele from their mother. It's impossible. So they have to be they have the disease clearly. So they have to have a big H, but the other copy must be a small h, big H and small h, because their other parent does not have the dominant allele. And so that means that in fact we've no reason to believe that any of these people are going to have them, because even if you look down here, for example, G and H, all of their children have the disease, but they must also be heterozygous for it, because they couldn't have inherited a capital H from this parent, because they just don't have one. So even down here, we can be sure that G, they're affected, so they've definitely got a capital H, little h, but none of their children do. They will all also be heterozygous for the dominant allele. And so that brings us, our answer must be a big fat 0.